Hello. It's been a while. There's going to be background noise. I'm going to apologise now. Welcome to episode 31 of the Spring Snowflake podcast. Good actual morning. You can hear stuff in the background. Lockdown living. I'm going to apologise now. My name is Sophie and I am your host today. Welcome, as I said, to episode 31 of the Spring Snowflake podcast. This is going to be a bit of a different one, mainly because I am you're going to see me in different hats. Maybe actually different actual hats. I am wearing a hat today and I'll talk about that in a bit. It's February the 3rd of 2021. We're in a new year. I've missed a whole month. Vlogmas was great. Then we went back into lockdown. January was like a year. Last week alone was a month long. This lockdown has hit us like a ton of bricks in this household. All three of us, I think, is probably the right way of describing it. I'll talk about more about that in Life Update in that section. But what I'm planning to do is film this podcast in chunks so that I can get it done. Because there's a lot to talk about and not a lot of time in one chunk. Because we're all in this house, all together. Yay! So, what I'm going to do is film my intro now, see how much I get done, and then I'll come back and share my projects throughout the week. That's the plan, anyway. So, what am I wearing? I am wearing a cabled hat. I can't remember the pattern. I'll put it down. I'll put it in the show notes. But the yarn is from, formerly the project bag in the colourway hops, as in the plant that makes beer. For those of you who've been around a long time will know that I've also made a frog out of this yarn that hops. Love a good pun. But yes, Gemma has now rebranded as The Midnight Diary. Her first podcast under that name came out last week, I think. It premiered sometime, a few days ago. She's now rebranded and new website, and there's a shop update, I think, next Monday, the 8th of February. So yes, this is the yarn. I have a Cowling Country Crafts removable pom-pom. This actually had a white pom on it. This white pom, in fact, and I've just swapped it out for a grey one. And I think the grey one goes a bit better. It's a bit bigger as well. Anyway, either my hair needs to go up or it needs to be covered by a hat. So it's being covered by a hat today. I've also straightened my hair yesterday, which is unheard of. You join me in my slightly messy craft room, which is also my office because I'm working from home at the moment, on a grey and miserable Wednesday in February. This podcast is going to cover... There's going to be a giveaway. We're going to talk about the alongs that I am running this year. There's a couple right now. There are plans for more. We're going to talk about a very special thing that I need to tell you about and is going to be at the top of the episode. We're going to talk about my finished objects, not all of them, because I haven't really seen you. Well, I haven't done a podcast since November. But I'm just going to show you the bits that I finished recently. There's not that many. And we're going to talk about my works in progress. There's multiples. What else? I'm not going to do incoming because I just don't. We'll have a bit on TV and literature because I do that, apparently. A life update, and I think that's it. But it'll be filmed over the course of a few days when I have time. So you're going to see me in different outfits, in different states of tiredness, different lighting. I've not got any. This is natural light today, so we'll see how we go. My studio light is literally, I can touch it here just in case I need it. And that's it. So, first and foremost, I've told you what I'm wearing. Spotlight. First things first. I need you to listen to what I'm going to say and then pause the podcast and go and support this. So, you'll know that I am a fully paid up, signed up, engaged member of the Crochet Clan, as started by Faye of the Crochet Circle podcast, but basically we are the die-hard crocheters. Now, I dabble in knitting as well, but crochet is my first love. the one thing that's been missing from the crochet world has been a indie, high spec, beautifully produced crochet magazine, and we're getting one. So the lovely Alison, who is Alison Chu Designs, co-host of the Keep Calm and Carry Yarn audio and also video podcast, and web designer for BIPOC in Fibre, has just launched a Kickstarter for a new crochet magazine called Moorit, which is Moorit. I will pop the link to the Kickstarter campaign and their Instagram profile in the description box below, and also in the show notes, which will be on my Patreon site as a publicly facing blog post. Alison's amazing. Like, she's got so many hats that she wears. But one of her things is very much promoting crochet to a much wider audience. Now, there's a lot of indie, beautifully designed knitting magazines, or magazines like Pom-Pom Quarterly. I love this edition, by the way. I want to make pretty much everything in there. That say they're knitting and crochet, but are mostly knitting with one crochet design. The aim of Moorit is to be a completely indie-based, size-inclusive, if it's a garment, magazine that is of that ilk, of the ilk of kind of Pom-Pom and all the other kind of. There's a few beautifully made, beautifully shot magazines. Moorit's going to be that for just crochet. It's going to be a biannual, so two editions a year magazine. At least 12 designs plus articles and all the things you would expect from something that is published of a really high quality. The Kickstarter is going on right now. It goes until the middle of February, I think. It has been funded. Issue 1's been funded. It is happening. Yay. But the more we can add into it, the more longevity this thing has. So issue 1 is funded. Alison's met her two stretch goals, which means that those of us who are supporting it on our and have signed up for awards will get extra rewards. Yay. But now issue 2 is being funded by Kickstarter, and that's the thing that we want to make sure this thing has longevity. So drop what you're doing, pause me, go to the link in the description box below and support Kickstarter. There's various different levels. I've gone for highest level because obviously I'm quite invested in this. But you can. There's a reward to just be a supporter and to get a couple of like, I think there's a pin badge or a questionnaire or something. From about £28 upwards, I think, is where you actually get an issue of the magazine. You can have your name printed in the magazine in issue 1. I'm totally looking forward to seeing my name in print. There's when you get to the highest levels, you get a skein of yarn from River Knits. You get a pattern from the lovely Faye Hughes, whose Crochet Circle podcast. There's all sorts of different rewards, so hopefully there will be one that fits within your budget. And the first edition will be coming out in autumn/winter 2021. So please do try and to support if you can the Kickstarter. If you can't right now, just know that it's going to come out at some point in the autumn/winter. That's my spotlight. Go. Pause me. Run now. I'll wait. It's fine. So there are a lot of alongs that I take part in. There's a few alongs that I want to run this year, but I never normally do like standalone giveaways. I'm going to do one now. It's not yarn related. So you will know, having watched, if you've watched before, that I like my tea. I'm a bit of a tea snob. Mostly it's Bird and Blend or Yorkshire tea. I do like the what's it called? A Darjeeling Grey from, I think it's Tea Pigs, which is also, it's my favourite Earl Grey. But most of the time, I love a bit of Bird and Blend. Now, for the last 2 years, my lovely daughter, via my husband, have subscribed me to the Bird and Blend Tea Club. So I get 3 lots of tea every month through my letterbox. Fabulous. There are some that I really don't like, but it's nice to try, isn't it? So they subscribed me again this Christmas, which was lovely. But I also got the December subscription through the door as well. So I got 2 of the same month of tea. And I also, because they resubscribe me, you get an extra, you get an extra prize, nice reward for subscribing, which I've already got. So I'm going to pass that on to you guys. So let's take out the extras. In this envelope is 3 teas, 3 Christmas teas. Just that. Isn't it lovely, that illustration? There's always an illustration on the envelope, and on the card that comes in the thing. In here are 3 teas. You've got hazelnut rocher, cherry cola bottles, and popping Christmas butter toffee. This popping Christmas, I love. If I wasn't giving this away, I'd totally be breaking into that one as well. So you get 3 teas. You get a perfect teaspoon, which is, you use this to measure out your tea to go into whatever receptacle is being used to steep said tea. And you will also get a brewdini. Now, because of the size of this giveaway is only open to people who are in the UK, unfortunately. Postage at the moment is ridiculous. Postage to places like the US and Canada has gone up exponentially for us in the UK. I think it might be the USPS's fault for that. I'm going to put these over here. And Europe is a bit weird at the moment because Brexit. So I'm kind of I'm not posting anything outside of the UK right now. Sorry. So the giveaway is open to UK entrants only. What I would like you to do is go over to my Mighty Networks. So there is a community for this podcast on Mighty Networks. I'll put the link down below, which should get you in automatically without me having to say yes, you can come in. I will open a topic on there under the giveaways thread. There's a giveaways topic and there'll be a thread under there. And I would like you to tell me what your favourite hot beverage is. So we're not gonna stick to just tea. My husband's just said Bovril. Yeah, he's not being serious, are you?
Good for cold weather.
It's good for cold weather, apparently. We'll see how much of the mic that was picked up on the mic. Anyway, so yes, go into my Mighty Networks, go to that topic, and under the thread that is Bird and Blend giveaway, tell me what your favourite hot beverage is on a cold winter's day. We know I like a lovely cup of tea. At the moment, my tea of choice is actually the biscuit brew from Yorkshire Tea, and I totally blame Hannah from the Corner of Craft for that. So I'm loving that. I'm also feeling that when I do that, I'm cheating a bit because it's tea bags, and not like proper steeped tea in my brewdini, which is from I'm a ridiculous human being. Anyway, so that's my favourite at the moment. But I do love a hot chocolate. Cadbury's hot chocolate from our Tassimo machine is always quite nice. It's also Amelia's favourite hot drink. It's her only hot drink of choice. So yes, go over there and enter the giveaway. We're still on the admin. So we are running a couple of alongs in this podcast. One that has been extended. The Tunisian Crochet Along, the Spring Snowflake Tunisian Crochet Along, has been extended to the end of this month. Personally, I think I might extend it even further than that, but we'll see how we do. So, rules are anything Tunisian, anything that was a whip prior to, I don't even know when I launched this thing, October. As long as it's 50%, it's fine. It can be a mixture of Tunisian and other yarn crafts. I'm thinking of the Sunny and the Ishrat hats from Avonee are knitted bands and then Tunisian crown. Absolutely fine as long as it's at least 50% Tunisian. You get an extra point if it's your first ever Tunisian crochet project. Little things that you practice on don't count, like that's fine, but if it's your first ever Tunisian crochet project, then add that in as well. And what was the other thing I think? Oh yeah, if it's yarn from your collection that you already had in your house, you haven't bought it extra to make it this thing, that gives you an extra point as well. There's a topic of the along on my Mighty Networks, and there is a finished object thread within that. Only things that are finished, that are posted underneath the finished object thread, will get counted for prizes. We have multiple prizes for this along that I've had. One, I've got to show you one because it's amazing. Where is it? Here we go. The fabulous Ellen, who is Mrs. Lamb's Yarns and Shek Ellen. We worked together to create a specific spring snowflake set of yarn and bag. So this is the bag. It's got red handles. It's got purple inner. So this is one of the prizes for the Tunisian Crochet Along. And then the other, one of the other prizes, I've got 3 prizes actually, is going to be a bundle of minis from Ellen, so Mrs. Lamb's Yarns, which have been called a spring snowflake. These are my colours. So these are 2 of the Tunisian Crochet Along prizes. And then the other one, do you know what? There'll be another one. I can't decide which one it is because the prize pile's huge. It's ridiculous. Okay, so that's the Tunisian Crochet Along. We are launching a new along, and this one is a finish along. So, for those of you who've been around a while, will know that I kind of have a thing for blankets. I start a lot of blankets. I finished one just before Christmas. I finished my Advent blanket, which was amazing. I'll pop a photo in to show you because I love it, this thing, and it's been an extra layer on my side of the bed over the winter. It's fabulous. It's gorgeous rainbow and I love it. But I have multiple other blankets that are in various stages of whipness, and I need to finish some of them because I've got other blankets that I want to start, and some I have started, but there's others that are waiting down in this unit that are just yarn right now and they need to become blankets. So we're having a finish along. We're having a blanket finish along. So a BFAL? Foul? A foul. We're having a foul. Specifically for blankets. However, we are calling it Sophie's Blanket Finish Along because the biggest whip that I have and the longest whip that I have is my Sophie's Universe. So not only is it my blanket finish along, it's also so that I get the damn Sophie done. And ever since I've been like floating this idea at people at various knit nights and sip and stitch and things like that, people have been coming out of the woodwork and going, yeah, I've got a Sophie that hasn't been finished. Yeah, I've got a whole Maddie, who's one of the members of Gemma's the Midnight Diary Wednesday Sip and Stitch nights. She had a whole kit that was just waiting, and we've enabled her to start. So yes, it is going to be a year-long blanket finish along. My aim is that I get my Sophie done by the end of Stash Dash, which finishes in August, because can you think of all the meterage that I would get for finishing my Sophie's Universe? Yes! I totally blow past Sophie out of the water for the 2 or 3 years that I've done Stash Dash. Anyway, so we're doing a blanket finish along. I am collecting some prizes for that, but the first prize came in yesterday from the fabulous Jo, who is So Can Jo on Instagram. She does not make to sell, however, she is collaborating with Laura from Bumbling Yarns, Lonely Knitter, Crafter's Balm, all the things, at the moment to do a Christmas in July collaboration, which is open. Oh, I don't know how long it's going to be open for, but I think it's still open. If it's not, I apologise, but I will put the link into Laura's shop. Kind of depends on how long this takes for me to finish and edit. Anyway, she sent me a bag. So, this wonderful So Can Jo bag. Oh God, look at that hair. Look at that hair. I would call it one of her medium bags. I forgot that we've also got sweets and extras in here. It is fully lined. It doesn't have any pockets, this one. It's minimalist for Jo. I have multiple Jo bags, which you'll see as I show you projects. So this is slightly smaller. This is the test that we always do with Jo bags. And Sip and Stitch will understand. It fits a head. It fits a fully grown head. Oh God, I've lost my hat. It fits a fully grown adult head in it, so it's big. And this is going to be the first prize for the blanket finish along. So rules. Again, I will open a thread on my Mighty Networks alongs topic, so you can post in the chatter and also the finished objects. Because it is Sophie's blanket finish along, you get an extra entry if you finish a Sophie's something. So this is the Sophie's Universe blanket that was created by Deirdre Ice, I think, of Look at What I Made. That's her blog post. Apparently my the thing with the light that's just come on, that's my external hard drive, decided that it wants to make itself known. Anyway, Sophie's, so Deirdre came out with Sophie's mandala, which is a circle, and then she came out with Sophie's garden, which is the square that goes round the circle, and then she came out with Sophie's universe, which continues the blanket. There's all sorts of different iterations of the Sophie. And how many times can we say my name in a paragraph? So yes, there's all sorts of different iterations. If you finish a blanket version of the Sophie garden universe other by Look at What I Made, I think that's what her blog is. It is a free pattern. By all means, start one. It's not for the faint-hearted, but I'm not going to stop you. So it can be new. Whips are obviously allowed, even if you're at the final round of a Sophie, even at your final row of a blanket, it counts. Whips are totally allowed. This is very much a, let's just finish these blankets. The lovely Gemma from the Midnight Diary does say that that blankets don't count as whips because they're long-term projects. They are not works in progress. They are long-term projects. But I also feel like I just want to get some lovely blankets finished and in like a blanket stack. Like you see those beautiful blanket stacks that people do, and I don't have one. Well, I probably do have now, but I want a bigger one. So yes, that is starting now. 1st of February, let's call it 1st of February through to 31st of December, and I'm going to be collecting prizes over the year to send out for your next blankets. I have a feeling some of those will probably be mini bundles from me, from my own yarn collection, in order for you to start your next blanket. What do we think of that as prizes? Yeah? Yeah. So that is along too. There is plans for other alongs. I'm planning a geeky, nerdy craft along at some point, mainly because I'm now doing D&D. And I feel the need to do all the nerdy things right now. Also, I got my board game knits books from Lola of Third Volt Yarns Kickstarter during Vlogmas. Those of you who watch Vlogmas will have seen the opening. I kind of want to make all the things from there, and those will totally count in a geeky, nerdy along. I need to hone that, so that'll be coming later in the year once the Tunisian crochet along has finished. There's other ideas coagulating for alongs. Ooh, that's the other one. Weave along. Gonna be a weave along at some point, and I think I'm gonna be collaborating with Sharon from SCL1TNO on that, mainly just to get her loom out. Moving on. Another day, another section of podcast. I might actually do this in 2 parts, we'll see. So, finished objects. I'm going to tell you what I'm wearing because it's a finished object that you won't have seen if you hadn't have watched Vlogmas. This is my Enchanted Rose cowl, which is by Rachie Newman, I think. I'll put all the stuff, as I said before, will be in my show notes. This is a very long crochet cowl. See? Oh God. It's a very long crochet cowl. In 2 different yarns. The dark red is a Third Volt Yarns DK. They're both DKs. Which the colourway is Desire, and then the variegated kind of pinky purpley grey in the mesh sections is a Lay Family Yarns Merino DK, which is called It's Vlogmas. Exclamation mark. As said, there will be background noises. So this cowl is a very long cowl, crocheted, 2 different stitches for each of the rows, very squishy, and I finished it during Vlogmas. So I love it. It just bunches up in exactly the right way, and it's just very nice. I used pretty much all of the yarn for this, so I finished off the top with a crab stitch, which is kind of reverse double crochet, and then the bottom was finished off with just a row of slip stitches, I think. Yeah, slip stitches, because my foundation row at the bottom made it really flare out and really quite stretchy, so it wasn't very nice, so I cinched it all in with some slip stitches. Other finished objects. I'm not going to show you everything because obviously it's been like a month and a half. No, 2 months. Hello! Are you going to come and say hello?
Hello! What are you doing?
I am filming my podcast. Anyway, other finished objects. I managed to felt Amelia's unicorn jumper. So you will have seen that I finished, and it's inside out because I haven't sewn the ends in. She's already worn it. I felted some of Amelia's unicorn jumper. Because I completely forgot that 2 of the yarns I used were Knit by Numbers DK from John Arbon, and they are non-superwash. Now it's fine if you felt the yarns in a stripe, like at the bottom here, you'll see, if we can focus, that those 2, the blue and the purple, have very much felted, but actually they haven't caused any issues because I can just stretch them out. However, the purple was in the hearts, and when something is in colour work that is, one of them is superwash and one of them is not superwash and one of them felts, it just looks hideous. So what I did, and I'll insert some photos to show you the process, is I ripped out that band of hearts and re-knit them in this colour. Now, what's the front and what's the back? This is the front. So you'll see that there is very much a colour difference in the pink, because obviously the rest of it's been through the wash a couple of times, whereas this has not. This has just been blocked in the sink. But I picked up the stitches, or rather I picked up the stitches on either side, cut the band out. I didn't really save the yarn. No, I did save. No, I didn't save any of the yarn. So that went into my ends tub that's up there. And I substituted in some superwash DK, which is from Gamer Crafting, that came in a set with my Board Game Knits Kickstarter package. So I should still be able to use most of the skein of the purple for the mitts, although I'm not actually sure if I'm going to make those mitts because I started them and then realised that I really don't like Intarsia. I think I like Intarsia when it's on a bigger scale, but this is there's a lot of different bobbins of yarn that's going to be going on with this Intarsia for this mitt in this design, and I just didn't want to, basically. So I've pulled some of these stitches quite a lot in making them, but it's fine. It still looks like the jumper. So I picked up from the yoke and I went down because it's top down. It's a top down pattern. So I picked up here. The bottom, the sleeves and the body were still on a needle, on a cable, and then I knit down, refinished the yoke. So it's only, I think, 9 or 10 rows, and then I grafted it back on too. And there's some bits where you go, yeah, that's definitely a bodge job, definitely at the back. There's definitely some bodging that's gone on at the back. It's not pretty, but it's at the back, and do I care? Because she's got her jumper back and it's not felted and she can actually use it. There'll probably come a point where I actually cut off. I've still got quite a lot of this pink left. I've actually got a skein that's going to be that's in my prize pile because this yarn was gifted to me, so I might as well gift the remainder out. I've got 100 grand skein of it. I've got enough that if I need to extend, I can extend. I might end up cutting off the bottom and knitting a bit of another inch once she grows out of it, or yeah, there's all sorts of things we can do. So yes, it's done, it's re-knit, it's wearable now, but I do need to sew the ends in. Next FOs, my husband asked me to make some hats for new babies that are about to appear and also their bigger sibling who is about to become a sibling. So there's some twins due. I made 2 beloved bonnets out of this Ice Yarns. I think it's called Dancing Baby, the colourway. These have been washed and dried, and when they went into the dryer, they've gone all fluffy. So they're lovely and soft. But yeah, so it's kind of variegated yarn. It literally, that's the order. So started on this side of this hat. I've got 2 hats that are brothers, not twins. And then their bigger sibling has got a bobble hat. And I can't remember the pattern I used for this. So I think it's the Kaya May pattern. I've put a pom-pom on, but I have used a button that is tied on, so in a little bow, so if they need to wash this hat, they can just take the pom-pom off and put it through the washing machine. It should be big enough. Slightly worried about the length, but this is for a 7-year-old, so it stretches over my head, so it should be fine. But yes, pom-pom. I did helical knitting with the stripes of the yarn from the baby's hats, and then some, I think it's Paintbox Yarn Simply DK, which is their acrylic, in the navy blue. So that is a set that is going to go in the post to my husband's colleague very soon. So yeah, the hat is the Beloved Bonnet by Tin Can Knits. Final finished object. For those of you who've been around for a while, know that I went on a weaving course in October, and I was the teacher was very generous in lending me a loom, and I warped up, and I've shown you, I think, pictures of the warp in the last podcast. The autumn rainbow minis that I got from Verity of Truly Hooked, and it's finished. So don't look too closely because there are some issues with particularly my tension on the sides, but it is yak sock minis for the warp from Truly Hooked in her autumn colours. It's autumn minis, I think, is set. If you want to see the actual colours, that's the colours of the yarn. I haven't decided whether I'm going to twist this fringe or not yet. It's all the same length at least. And then the weft was a Katia Baby Nature. I'll show you in close up. The grey, come on, focus. There we go. The grey you can see at the edge, which is Baby Nature, and it's just a dark grey. You'll see it better in the thing I made from the scraps. So obviously after the warping I had some of the minis left over, and after I finished the weaving of this, it's really long. It's like, so okay, wait a minute. That is my wingspan, and then another arm's length. It's really long. It's a really nice warm scarf. I can double it up. I could probably even triple it if I wanted to just have the fringes at the right underneath my neck. Yeah, it's a really lovely wide scarf. I wouldn't call it a wrap. It's not wide enough, I don't think, to be a wrap. But I love it. And then I had scraps. So I made the Show Us Your Scraps Knits pattern by, let me get my arms up, by the lovely Laura, who is the Lonely Knitter. Now at the moment this pattern can only be found on her Ravelry store, but she is going to put all of her patterns on her Shopify I think she uses, her website, on her website. So she's a designer under the Lonely Knitter Designs, but she's also Crafter's Balm and Bumbling Yarns, and she has a website for that. So this is the leftovers in the Show Us Your Scraps Mitts. Is that focusing? Yes. So this is a lovely, really easy pattern. I have put it into the Vanilla Along, which is being run by Gemma of the Midnight Diary and Alice of the Dr. Sostram podcast. Yeah, so you'll see that there's a bit of detail every time you switch your colours, but otherwise it's just plain stocking stitch all the way around, and then a twisted rib cut. Anyway, yeah, twisted rib cuff, which I love. And it's just a really nice, simple mitt pattern, and great for scraps. So I probably had 30 grams in total of my colours, and then I just, so it's 8 colours, it's a 12 stripe pattern, so it's made for things like advent calendars, but I did, the first 3 stripes were grey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 for the rip. That's what I did. So you can do this in all sorts of things, but yeah, I probably had about 40 grams in total, and had a little bit left, which will go into my northeasterly. Not of all the colours, so I definitely didn't have any of the green left, and I didn't have any of this purple left. Everything else I've got some remaining, so it's going to go into my crochet northeasterly. And that are the finished objects I'm going to show you. I did finish obviously other things during the time, and if I think about it, I'll put in a little gallery of photos here. Okay. Whips! My hair is doing something funny and I don't know what. Let's go for things. Let's go for Let's start with blankets because there are many. So as I said, I've started a blanket finish along. I've also started many blankets. That's what I do. So, first things first, in my lovely Thimble and Thread Make cube bag. It's large, this thing, hence blanket. It has got multiple badges on it. This is from Sharon of the Stitch Foundry she is now. There is a Claudia Crochet Luna, nobody puts crochet in the corner, and this, and then my Crochet Clan badge from Crochet Luna as well, and then this is a Brownies keyring with a yellow pom-pom on it, which I love. This in here is my temperature blanket for 2021. I really didn't like the fact that I didn't do a 2020 temperature blanket, and I might go back and do another one. Do one for 2020 at some point. I probably won't, because I have too many blankets. Hello. I have taken inspiration from Tony Lipsy, from her. She did a Tunisian crochet blanket, temperature blanket last year, which featured 4 columns for each of the quarters or each of the seasons. And I wouldn't say seasons actually, because seasons is, it doesn't correspond to a calendar year. But anyway, she did 3 months per column and did it in Tunisian simple stitch. I didn't want to do a Tunisian blanket, so, well, not a Tunisian blanket for my temperature blanket, because I've already got a long-term Tunisian blanket, which I'm not going to show you because I haven't touched it in a while. But I decided I was going to do it in half treble crochet, 2 back and forth for one day, so 2 rows per day, with white in the middle of each month. And I have each temperature band is 4 degrees. 1, 2, yes, 4 degrees. And this is what I got. So it starts at the bottom, and we've got January, and we've got the first few days of February. I am up to date. This is going to be my entry for the Square a Day knit along cal that Sharon from SCR1TNO is hosting. I will put the hashtag in the show notes. It doesn't have to be a square a day, it can be a line a day, it can be a hexagon a day, it can be something that you do, that you put some work into it for a day, every day in the year of 2021. So this is my 2021 blanket. Obviously last year's was my Tunisian Radiating Squares blanket, which the pattern is coming, it's been tested, it's coming. I just need a few hours in the day to do it. Hopefully in half term. Hopefully. Anyway, or when the small person actually goes back to school when we're allowed. Yeah. So that one is going to be my year 1 blanket, which I haven't finished. This is going to be my 2021 blanket, which I will finish this year because I love doing the temperature blanket every year. My 2019 blanket, I loved doing those hexagons, squares, every day. It was just a lot of fun to do those 3 rounds every day. This is a lot of fun to do these 2 stripes every day. Check the weather, go exclaim, oh my god, the temperature has changed in a day. Like, the things we do because we're Brits. So yes, that is my temperature blanket. These are the colours I'm using. Nice and bright and acrylic, and it's basically coming from stash, and if I run out of one, I will just substitute it for something similar in my stash, just like I did in my 2019 blanket. This is very much getting rid of some balls of acrylic from my stash. I am not an acrylic hater. Acrylic definitely has its place, particularly for blankets and heirloom pieces and kids' knits and things that need to go. A lot of gifts are either cotton or acrylic for me because people who don't use yarn on a regular basis aren't very knowledgeable of how to look after it. So acrylic and cotton can just go straight in the washing machine. People don't have to worry about it. So acrylic definitely has its place. I choose for things that are for me to use wool and natural products, natural things, but I'm definitely still a fan of the acrylic for things like blankets. Okay, let's talk about the blanket that started the blanket along. I have pulled out my Sophie. I am on round 71. Are we right? 73. I'm on 73. I'm on 73. Right. And I'm in the middle of a row because these rows are ridiculously, they're about 460 rounds long at the moment. So let's show you where I'm actually at the moment. Excuse the yarn that's on it. So this is the round I'm currently on, which is these little tulips. Oh, I love these colours. Let's give you the whole thing. I will take a picture of it on the ground and me on a chair probably to take the whole thing. But yes, my Sophie's Universe, I've picked it back up again. It's the reason why I'm doing the blanket finish along. There are multiple people. There is a hashtag, which is Sophie's Blanket FAL, finish along. And there is also the hashtag I blame Sophie Swan, mainly because there are people who are starting Sophies because of me. I'm fully happy to be blamed and take that off your shoulders. That's absolutely fine. I love to enable people to make blankets. The other blanket I am doing is I am subscribed to actually there's 2, damn it. Number one, I'm subscribed this year to the Gamer Crafting Blanket Club. I've never done the Blanket Club before, but she said space and I went, yes, please. So every month I am getting 200 grams of sparkly merino DK. And here we go. That is in this bag, which is my Gamer Crafting Operation Social Justice bag. I also have my Hey J Yarns Don't Be a Dick sparkly pin and my It's a Stitch Up Yarn Maiden. I just felt these 2 were appropriate. I also have, because I have to tie everything in, this is my this is a charm zip pull, it's got a lobster clasp on it, from Maliqua Wire, who is the most amazing maker of jewellery that is crocheted or knitted. The yarn, I believe, is Eden Cottage yarns, and it's got a snowflake charm in it, because obviously, but also I was like, well, I have to have some sort of reference to a snowflake on this bag, because quite often social justice warriors are also called snowflakes. So, yes. Anyway, in here is the yarn. I have started making up my blanket project in one of them. So this is colour 1. I don't actually know which colour is 1 or 2. Angie has not stated. And then this one is colour 2, which is a bit lighter, more blues. Yeah, really lovely. So I've started making up these, my project in these, and they're over here, because I blocked one to see how big it would turn out. I am making the Tin Can Knits Polygon Blanket, and this is what one of them looks like. Oh, I love it. It kind of looks like a black hole or a galaxy swirling. I love it. I'm so, like, I've enabled quite a few people by doing this. I posted, what's really nice, sorry, I'm just getting distracted. What's really nice about this colour is there's some subtle flecks of brown in here as well. I don't know if you can see that, but they're very subtle, and it's lovely. Anyway, and I've made 2 more, which have not been blocked. They look like little sea urchins when they're unblocked. I probably won't block them before I start sewing them together, and then I'll block the blanket as a whole. So, Tin Can Knits Polygon Blanket. It's a lovely pattern. It is paid for pattern on their website. Brilliantly. I now only buy patterns from people who have an off Ravelry option, because I won't give that site any more of my money. But yes, I was asking in a couple of Instagram groups that I'm part of, and was like, right, I need a blanket knitted in pieces that can be sewn or crocheted together at the end. And people gave me lots of options. And in this particular group, Lone, who's a Lonely Sock Lady, was like, oh, Polygon or Vivid from Tin Can Knits, and I really want to make a Vivid. Anyway, I've wanted to make the Vivid blanket for ages, but I don't think it would work with this amount of variegation. So, Polygon Blanket definitely, and actually I'm so pleased with that choice of blanket design. So, lots of hexies and half hexies. I've planned out my blanket that it's going to kind of meld as the colours go down. Hopefully, we'll see. I think I'm going to do 6 hexies of each colour, of each. Anyway, so the Polygon Blanket is, so for the most part, with the size of blanket I want to make, I'm going to need either 5 full hexies and 1 half hexie, or 6 hexies. So I'm going to make 6 hexies of each colour, and then as I come to put it all together, some I'll rip out and make into half hexies rather than full. Hello! Are you going to come talk to me as well?
Hello!
Right. So, that is the Polygon Blanket. Why are you putting your hand in front of your face? Can you give me that little brown bag, please, with the blue square on top of it? Thank you. Right. I need the bag as well. Oh.
I want to show it.
Okay. Do you want to show this one? So my next blanket is an extension of a blanket that I started for Advent. So we need the bag as well. Living in this bag, which is my Hide and Hammer little sock bag. I think this was the precursor to the 01 or 02. 02. So this holds a skein of balled up or caked up yarn. It's a very handy thing. It's also got a stitch marker from the the Crafter's Balm Advent calendar, my little star. What you doing? I made a 8 round granny square for each of the yarns that I had for my Advent calendar from Giddy Yarns. And then I decided to subscribe to her mini club, thank you, for 2021. And you get 5 colours of minis in different, she offers them in lots of different weights. And I got the 10 gram 4-ply. So if you haven't got your January club from Giddy Yarns for the mini, I can't even remember what it's called, mini Marvellous Monthly Minis Club from Giddy Yarns, look away now, because I've made one into a square. So this is square 1. It's all blues. It's fabulous. And then we've got, I'll get the other ones out. Now, each of these squares takes about, I think, 8 grams of yarn. Oh, I've got ends everywhere. Ugh. Ugh. Let's just wrap these up a little bit better. Okay. So, and these are the other colours. So they're all very similar, all very wintry blue. And I have about this much left of the first colour. So I'm slowly making these into grannies, and by the time the next lot comes around, I'll have put them all into grannies, and they are currently living in that box with the black lid behind me. And these are my Advent ones. So that's the Advent calendar from Giddy Yarns in granny square form. The rest of it went into a Crochet Northeasterly, which basically is going to be my scraps. When I finish a project, I'll put something in there from what I'm making. So yes, that's my granny square blanket, and again that's going to be I'm just going to keep making squares, and then when I think I've got enough, I'll start laying them out and deciding what I'm going to put them, what kind of order and how big and all that kind of stuff. Very much as the lovely Gemma from the Midnight Diary says, blankets don't count as whips, they count as long-term projects, and that's a whole different category by itself. Seeing as I've started a lot, and I have quite a lot of yarn ready for blankets, I'm quite glad for that clarification and justification. Right, I think that's all the blankets. It is. So, while we're on the subject of enabling, the lovely Sharon from SCR1TNO Knitting Project podcast, go and follow her if you don't already, is running a stripy sock knit along this year. Doesn't have to be knit, can be crocheted. And not only, so you are encouraged to enter a stripy sock every month in the year of 2021, apart from January, because she started a bit late. Every month we'll have a dyer, an indie dyer, and a commercial yarn brand that are known for selling striped sock yarn. And you are encouraged to knit with that particular, if you've got yarn for this already, you're very encouraged. If you want to go and buy some more, then absolutely fine. But that drawer there is full of commercial striped sock yarn, so I don't need to buy it anymore. So, although I am going to buy some Third Volt Yards D&D self striping yarn when she releases that collection very soon. Anyway, you are encouraged to enter yarn, socks made of yarn from that month's particular dyer or commercial brand in order to get extra points. So, February is Opal for Sharon's stripy sock along. So I didn't actually have any Opal yarn in my collection, but I had to. I bought some tips, high tips off an Etsy seller, and noticed that they sold Opal yarn. So I thought, well, I can't not. So this is Opal Jazz in the, I think, Chicago colourway. Yes, Chicago colourway. It should end up looking like these. There we go. Which is stripy enough, apparently, according to Sharon. And I have made a start on both. I am waiting for some needles from Pearlescence to come. I'm not talking to you. My lovely friend in the corner thought I was talking to her. Because I only have one set of, I'm doing these on 2.25mm needles. I only have one set of long circular needles, and I only have one set of DPNs in 2.25 somehow. And I did order a long circular, which was a Knit Pro Zing, because they didn't, where I was ordering from didn't have these Addy lace ones. And they came and they're horrible. Like, the join is so sticky. Like, was basically shoving my yarn onto the needle every time I turned. So I've basically been doing one as magic loop and one as DPNs, and they're about the same length at the moment, but my tension is slightly different between the two methods, so I need to do either magic loop or DPNs. I can't do one and the other because I'll have different size socks by the end of it. But this is how they're working up anyway. So you've got kind of I don't really know how, like, it's in the toe of this one, it's come up like that, but in reality it's actually kind of a barber pole, and then you've got stripe, and then you've got solid colour as well. So it is definitely a stripe, but they're patterning in between the stripes. It's quite interesting. But I've never used opal yarn before. It feels quite sturdy. I've gone down a needle size to 2.25mm because I was realising that my tension had loosened off a little bit. Although actually it's tightened up on Magic Loop, really interestingly, so these might be a little bit tight for me. And I am doing toe up. I don't usually do toe up. This is a Louise Tilbrook pattern, which I think is free or very cheap on her Payhip store. But it's basically her toe up, heel flap and gusset pattern, and I am just doing a vanilla sock round and round and round. I have multiple stripy sock whips, but I am going to be waiting to finish those for the month in which they need to be finished. It is living in a me-made bag, which was a fat quarter from Hobbycraft, I think. Yeah, 2 fat quarters from Hobbycraft. But it's a really nice sock bag because you can put 2 little 50-gram cakes side by side with lots of room to spare, and just carry it around the house. I did try doing 2 at a time. I really don't like 2 at a time because DPN is my favourite because you don't have to keep like dropping the yarn and retensioning the yarn, and you can just keep going with DPNs, but you have to be careful with laddering with DPNs. That's probably my favourite way of making socks. But toe up, I can't start it. I can't do the toe. It's too small a circumference for my DPNs. So I start a toe on Magic Loop and then I switch to DPNs when I'm doing toe up. Just seems to work better for me. And is there anything else I need to tell you about this? Yeah, Magic Loop is not my favourite, but it's probably my second way of making socks. I have tried doing 2 circulars, which is what Sharon does, but it still feels quite clunky to me, just like Magic Loop does. So DPNs first, then Magic Loop is my preferred way of making socks. Next, let's go for Tunisian, because I am doing something Tunisian for Tunisian make-along. It's just not my blanket or the Tunisian shawl that you last saw me making. I've started a new one. So let's secure some stitches, shall we? Because apparently I don't secure my stitches at all. That's awful. Let's just do that. Right, living in my thimble thread and make basket is lots of yarn. There are 6 cakes of DK, merino DK in here, mostly merino DK in here. We have the Entrelac and Key shawl. This thing is going to be a blanket shawl. It's going to be a schlanket, basically. There is 6 skeins of DK that is going into here. It is a pattern by Toni Lipsey. I started because she's doing a Make It Cal. But most of the prizes are for US and Canada only, so I'm only doing it for the kind of the joy of making more than anything else. In here I have got, now let's see if I can remember all of these. This dark green is what I made my husband's hat out of, which if I had actually done it, you will have seen a picture of in the gallery of makes. Probably not though. I made a woolly wormhead hat for my husband for one of his Christmas presents. And this is Anne Kingston Yorkshire Warmth DK Sport Weight. It's a really lovely yarn to use. It is BFL Cashmere, I think. I've got all the things. So yeah, Anne Kingston Yorkshire Warmth DK Sport in the Atacop colourway, BFL cashmere, yeah, 87.5% BFL and 12.5% cashmere, spun and dyed in Yorkshire. We've then got this lovely one, which is, oh, let's see if I can remember. It is, oh, it's Rhapsody. Rhapsody yarns. It's quite a vintage one, I think, which I think I was gifted from Beck, who is, oh damn it, I can't remember who. Anyway, I was gifted it from the lovely Beck. The yarn colourway is Vicky, and it's just this blue-green turquoisey, 100% superwash merino DK. We've then got Joe Knit Sew, another vintage one, which I got, I think, in a D-stash, I think from Faye. This is called, the colourway is called Incredibly Tall Old Lady. And again, it is 100% superwash DK. This is the colourway I'm currently using. Hence why my hook is in it, so it reminds me that this is what I'm using. We then have this, I think is Die Candy. Yes, this is Die Candy in the Brat colourway. I love the flashes of neon pink. And that is DK Nylon, her hardcore DK. So yes, the Brat colourway. I stick the tails from where I cut the yarn from its skein to remind me of what's what. Then we have 3rd Volt yarns in the Charm Person colourway. This is a D&D colourway. I got this in a Christmas bauble set that she did for Christmas. And Charm Person is a spell in D&D. Mostly, I think, used by bards, I think. But yes, lovely kind of purpley, greys, pinks. Really works well with the pinky tones of some of these other colourways. So otherwise this shawl is quite blue, so it's quite nice to have that one. Yes, so this is in her 80% superwash merino, 20%, so Hardy DK, 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. And then lastly we have Easy Knits, which I've had for a while, in the Dusted Dreams DK, and the colourway is Siren Song. And it's unwrapping itself. It's one of the ones that actually came out quite nicely from my yarn, my ball winder. But yeah, that's Siren Song, and that is, I think, 100% superwash merino. Yes, it is. So yes, I am using, it's Tunisian, so it's a massive hook, 6.5mm hook. When you're doing Tunisian, never choose a hook that's got an ergonomic handle, because you won't be able to do it. But it's entrelac, so it's only ever 8 stitches on my hook. Yes, I love it. I love the checkerboard. It's going to be just a giant V shawl schlanket by the end. And I'm just going, each time I get to the end of a round, end of a row, I cut the yarn, go back to the start, add the next colour on. It's quite a nice, easy one to do. And I love this blanket. I have just bought, and it's arrived, a kit to make my own one of these. Tracy has just released the pattern for the basket, which is very cool. I'm going to make a D&D one because I've bought myself some D&D fabric from Spoonflower. Very cool. Right, my last whip is that my last whip? It is my last whip. It's my last current whip. There is a box down here, which my Patreons will have had. The Patreon exclusive vlog for my £5 tier people. Yes, my £5 tier people was going through the new storage behind me, which basically was all of my long-term whips and blanket projects. So yes, it's not all my whips, it's all the whips I'm currently working on. So in this wonderful blanket, in this wonderful bag, which was, I think I won this from Dr. Stockstagram, so it was made by her lovely mum, is a lot of yarn. It's actually grown out of this bag, but I don't want to move it because this is my love note, so I need hearts on the bag, right? In this bag is a sweater, as denoted by the badges. On here, my badges are sweater. I don't know where I got the sweater one from. I've got my Stitch Foundry My Crochet Makes badge, which says Yarn Addict. I've got my Bear in Sheep's Clothing button badge, which I got from her when I bought something. Can't remember what I bought. Oh, a pin. Oh, this pin. My Bear in Sheep's Clothing Bear With Me. It's got glitter, it's lovely. And my Crit and Knit pin badge from the lovely Hannah of Corner of Craft. This is my D&D knitting because I'm at the round and round stage of my love note. There's needles coming off it galore. So, because... Ooh, why is that there? Because I'm not sure if I will have enough yarn. I want to do the pattern calls for, it's kind of between elbow and mid, what's this? What's that called when it's that length sleeves? Anyway, the pattern calls for sleeves that's finished quite short, and I'm happy with that, but part of me wants to see where I am with the yarn, and also because it's hand dyed, and I'm not, while I am doing helical knitting on the body, I'm not doing it on the sleeves. I want to make sure I'm doing the sleeves from the same cake of yarn. So yeah, I'm doing the sleeves. I've done the lace, I'm doing the sleeves, and then I'll do the body. That's what I'm trying to say. So I have fabulous. Now these are rock, paper, scissors needle stoppers from the Yarn Whisperer, but obviously I only need 2, not 3, so I don't have the rock. I don't have the rock one, but paper, scissors. On the sleeve. I'm about halfway done on the first sleeve. And then we got the lace, and then I've got the body down there, and then the needles are already in for the second sleeve when I'm ready to go. So they've been picked up. I am using for this yarn from Bear in Sheep's Clothing, obviously, because that's why everything's in there. This is the alpaca silk fluff base. It's called Bear Fluff, I think. And this is in the colourway Siren, and then the 4-ply in this rapidly disintegrating cake is vintage. This is probably some of my first like hand-dyed sweater quantity that I bought. This is River Knits in the old version of their Splendiferous 4-ply. So this is 70% BFL, 20% silk, 10% cashmere. The Splendiferous, I think, still exists, but is in a different makeup because they're slowly going away from superwash, if I can remember that, if I remember correctly. So yes, I have 3 skeins of each. Yes, 3 skeins of each. So I definitely won't use all of the River Knits, but I probably will use all of the Bear Fluff. So yes, I am currently working away on that sleeve, and yeah, I just love how the 2 yarns work together. This is going to be such a lovely jumper when it's done. This year for me is all about the garments, so I have got 6 knit and 6 crocheted garments that I would really like to make this year. I don't know if I will, but oh, I haven't shown you the stitch markers. So showing me where the start of my sleeve is a lovely rainbow sheep from the Corner of Craft, and then showing me where the showing me where my end of round is on my sleeve is a little teacup from Chapel View Crafts. I've just purchased quite a lot of things from her. In fact, I'm going to show you one of them because it's just the cutest thing ever. I've just purchased a little gnome stitch marker. I've bought 2 of these. I've got one on a lobster clasp and one on a jump ring. Very cool. And then showing me the end of my round is a little beaded Christmas tree, which I think I got in my Yarn Badger set for my stripy socks for Advent from the Yarn Badger. But yes, that is my love note. It is in progress, and it is what I knit on mostly, although I didn't this week at D&D. I'm starting a new D&D group, which is very cool. They're going to be very different to the Thursday night group that I'm already part of. Okay, last but by no means least, I think we've covered everything. Yes, last but by no means least, life update and books and stuff. So I've been really getting into books and TV at the moment. So as well as my usual kind of YouTube and watching podcasts and keeping up with all the people that I love, I have over the Christmas holidays I joined the immense bandwagon that was Bridgerton. For those of you who haven't seen it, do not watch it with elderly relatives or children. That's all I'm saying. And as soon as that, I binged watched that in 3 days, and as soon as that was done, I started reading the book. So I am now on book 8 of 9. So I'm on child 8 of the Bridgertons. And then book 9, I think, is all the epilogues, which she's put at the end of the books anyway. So I don't know if I'll actually buy book 9. Complete tosh, easy read, very good escapism. I have slowed down on book 8 because I kind of don't want it to end. So, if anyone's got any recommendations of books that are like that, I like a period drama, I like something that's escapism, basically. I'm not sure, like, I've got a couple of people who've told me to read Court of Thorn and Roses, so that's on my list, but I'm not sure if I like the kind of fantasy stuff, but I do love Terry Pratchett. So, yeah, if anyone wants to give me some recommendations on books, that'd be awesome, thanks. And the other thing that I'm getting really into is the Marvel things. So, WandaVision, which is on Disney Plus at the moment, and is being released just like your old style TV shows, one a week, every Friday for half an hour. It's amazing. WandaVision is all about Wanda, who is the Scarlet Witch, and Vision, who is the robot that is controlled by the Mind Stone in the Avengers movies. Paul Bettany, love him. Love Paul Bettany. Anyway, they're doing a TV show which is fabulous and I love it. It's very weird to start with. Episodes 1, 2 and 3 really confuse you and go, what are they doing with this? And then 4 and 5 kind of start to explain things. So that's good. But it's also made us decide that we're going to watch all the Marvel films in timeline order. So yesterday we started watching Captain America, we watched Captain America, we started watching Captain Marvel, we're going to finish Captain Marvel probably tonight, and then move on to the Iron Man 1 and 2 movies. So that'll be fun. There's several Marvel films that I haven't seen. Like, I haven't seen Ultron, which is where you get to know Vision and Wanda a lot more. So I've gone into WandaVision not knowing as much as I probably should do. But yeah, so that's going to be quite interesting, and I'm really looking forward to watching those, and it's something that Chris and I can sit and watch together. In terms of life, we're in lockdown. It's bloody hard. I think everyone's hit a bit of a pandemic wall at the moment, so while you don't want to complain, it's good to vocalise that it's bloody hard. Amelia is obviously at school, homeschool. Chris and I are both working. I'm working part-time, but I'm still, our working times overlap. So it's challenging to ensure that she's okay and we're okay and everything gets done. We are not pushing it in terms of school. She's only 4. Technically, she's not even legally supposed to be in school at the moment because she's still below the legal age of schooling. That's 5. She's 5 in April, so technically she doesn't have to be in school until next term, but for the most part in England anyway, you start in the year in which you turn 5. So we don't push it too much. School have been really understanding. She's really missing her friends. She's really missing having that contact of people her age. We went and did some puddle splashing with a friend a couple of days ago, which all socially distanced and generally and very careful, but it was just so lovely to see the joy on her face and her little friend's face of just being together and being 4. Really refilled both our cups actually, I think, which was really nice. Yeah, we're just muddling through, I think, like everyone else is, and just waiting for the news that the infection rate is going down and the death rate is going down and that the vaccinations are working and all that kind of stuff. So for those of you who are struggling as well, I see you, totally with you. It's hard. Let's not hide from that. My inbox is always open. I hope you guys know that if you want to come and chat to me on Instagram particularly, come and chat to me on Instagram, because you'll find that I'll go, yep, I'm totally with you there. Let's just commiserate with each other. I've been very much relying on the interaction I have online with people. So Instagram, WhatsApp chats, Zoom calls, my weekly Sip and Stitch, which is Gemma of the Midnight Diary. Her weekly Sip and Stitch on Wednesdays is such a lovely group, and I've made some really good friends through that group, and they are very much a lifeline. And then my Thursday night D&D, like, it's so lovely to see my school friends every week and actually have those chats, but also not talking about life and just playing a game that's really enjoyable. That's worth its weight in gold right now. It's pure escapism, and we all need that a little bit. And the fact that we can't go and like go to the pub and see our mates, and we can't go for weekends away and things like that, the stuff that we usually use for escapism, having something like D&D in my life has been just joy. It's just joy. That's all it is. And then monthly meetups with school friends in a larger group. I ran a what I'm calling my New Year mixer on New Year's Eve, which brought a lot of different groups together, and it worked. It was really nice. It was loud at some points, but it was really nice. So I think I might try and do that again. So it's a few days later. I have a special guest who's got her own camera. Smile. So I was really near the end anyway, but I was going to tell you about my running. Amelia, please could you stop?
Okay.
I have been running. So those of you who have been around for a while will know that I've had many attempts at trying to run a 5k. This one's actually sticking, interestingly. So when this lockdown hit, obviously I see a personal trainer every week, normally twice a week, the lovely Sean. People who watch Vlogmas will know about the lovely Sean. And lockdown started, and also his fiance gave birth as well. So kind of decision was that we would do everything. We decided we'd do everything from a distance. And what we've decided to do is we've brought down the number of personal training sessions I have, which is 1, and we're doing that by FaceTime in the garage. And then he is also giving me a running program. So I am running 3 times a week on a program that Sean has made for me, and it's a different run every single time, which I think is actually really working for me because I am not bored. I am not doing the same thing over and over again. For the most part, I'm doing treadmill runs at the moment, and we do have a treadmill in our garage, which I'm very fortunate to have. But
Daddy.
Yes.
Gonna what?
Anyway.
Breakfast.
Yes. So today's run is 2.5k. Easy 2.5k. So I'm halfway there if I can do this one.
No.
I apologise for the music. Anyway, I think that's it anyway. So I am going to sign off. Thank you so much for watching this slightly disjointed podcast, but literally this is my life right now. I'm going to try and film another one next week because we have some help. Our support bubble is... We're going into a support bubble. That's basically what we're doing. We're going into a support bubble, and the person that is coming to join our support bubble will take this person off my hands, and she's knocking the camera, and I apologise. And with that, I'm going. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Here then, come round the front, Trouble. Someone wants to say goodbye too.
Bye-bye.
See you soon.
See you next week.
Maybe next week.